Episode 573, Real Estate Transactions. Alex had become very busy, as the big families in Baltimore showed up to offer him money. It was different from when he had gambled in Atlantic City. Now, Alex was the one with the power and the extensive contacts. While Alex liked to work hard, he also enjoyed having a good time. In her spare time, Debbie also went to work for the new company, Birchwood Real Estate Company, as its general manager. One day, Alex sat down with Edward Stedman at the Imperial Hotel for a meeting. Edward began, "Alex, the Birchwood Real Estate Company has been doing really well, and we've attracted notice from some real estate developers and media companies. In fact, they're going to hold a small gathering downstairs tonight. I hope you can come." Edward frowned before going on. "However, the media companies seem to be a little vexatious. The maximum amount they're willing to spend on marketing is only $100,000 or $200,000. If we invite celebrities, then they'll probably spend a little more." "How much do they want?" Alex asked. Edward's face was difficult to read. Finally, he said, "Why don't we get my dad involved? He has a better understanding of this sort of thing." "No, go ahead and tell me," Alex said, just wanting to know what the final figure was. "They want over $1 million, Edward said. "What?" Alex asked, surprised. That was ridiculous. It was tantamount to robbery. That evening in the conference room of the hotel, they had had their little gathering. Many prominent figures in the business community were present, of course, as were real estate development and media companies. The buzz around the room was all focused on Birchwood. "Did you know Birchwood is looking for investors to cover advertising expenses?" a man said. "Birchwood should work for me. I can help them sell houses," his friend replied. A group of real estate tycoons surrounded a man in his 50s, who was dressed in a black suit and seemed to be of high status. At that moment, Alex and Edward arrived, noticing the party was already in full swing. On the way to the party, Alex had called Cassidy Pike. He had asked her for a favor, and she had happily agreed. When Alex arrived, she waited for him to give the signal. Cassidy loved working for Alex, as he was one of her favorite people. She felt different around him than she did anyone else. Most clients paid her, but she was more than happy to work for Alex for free. Alex hadn't invited Cassidy to sing on a mere whim. In fact, Edward had given him the idea when he had told Alex they needed a celebrity endorsement. So, Alex had naturally thought of Cassidy. When Alex gave this signal, Cassidy took his arm, and they stepped out into the party together. Instantly, the room was abuzz with excitement. The pair had drawn everyone's attention. Everyone knew who Cassidy Pike was. She was a legend. That day, she wanted to remind everyone who she was. She was a natural beauty, and she wore a form-fitting purple dress that accentuated her tall figure. All eyes followed her as she moved around the room. Because she was on Alex's arm, he became an object of interest as well, though more likely one of jealousy. Any men there would have loved to have Cassidy walk beside them. "Miss Pike?" Arnie Hampton greeted her. He was the man in the rich black suit that so many real estate tycoons had surrounded. He was carrying a glass of red wine, and he studied Cassidy appreciatively. "Hello, Mr. Hampton." Cassidy smiled politely at the portly man. Arnie was the head of the Baltimore Media Association, and he also ran his own communications company, Hampton Enterprises. If someone wanted to do any serious advertising in Baltimore, then Hampton was the man to talk to. He held all the media power in the city, and everyone knew it. If he liked someone, he could make their project soar. If he didn't, it was best that person got out of town fast. Even some government projects were supported by Arnie. In fact, it was likely that all government projects that needed advertising went through him. I don't believe I've had the pleasure of meeting your friend here, Arnie said, turning his gaze on Alex. This is Mr. Ambrose, the head of Birchwood Real Estate Company, Cassidy said by way of introduction. Oh, so you're the one running the show over there these days. Arnie's tone was both playful and sarcastic. Although Alex was like a king when it came to the Baltimore Martial Arts Association, those in real estate and media probably didn't know who he was. Everyone knew that in the real estate market, trying to move large villas was a daunting and often fruitless task. In fact, it was Arnie who had said they would need over $1 million to do advertising for Birchwood. Mr. Hampton, Edward broke in hesitantly. He had been following Cassidy and Alex through the room. We were wondering if we could schedule a meeting with you tomorrow to negotiate the advertising fee. There's nothing more to talk about, Arnie said. That number is my final offer. It's more than fair, especially these days. Feel free to go elsewhere and see if you can get a better offer, but I doubt you will. But perhaps I can make an exception, Arnie said, looking not at Alex, but at Cassidy. Perhaps if Miss Pike would be interested in accompanying me all evening, we could come to some sort of deal. He smiled suggestively. What did you say? Alex's eyes narrowed slightly, his anger brewing. Don't act like that, young man, Arnie said, sneering at him. I have all the power here. Besides, I never give anything without taking something for myself. He had raised the price on purpose. In fact, he could have helped Birchwood advertise for a lot less, but he had done his homework. When he found out that the owner of Birchwood was young and inexperienced in real estate transactions, he had seen an opportunity. Arnie was cunning and had the monopoly on media advertising, and everyone knew it. He grinned at both Alex and Cassidy as he said, So why don't you just let Miss... Arnie never finished his sentence. Before he knew it, he had hit the floor, and Alex was standing over him, his fist raised. Everyone in the room fell silent, their eyes on the marketing leader lying on the floor and cupping his cheek, while the young man stood threateningly over him. You hit me? Arnie asked in shock, rubbing his throbbing cheek.